Hello and welcome back to my channel. Lately we've been mostly talking about atheist witchery. Specifically, I am a skeptical atheist witch. I practice witchcraft and ritual as part of my mindfulness meditation, self-care, and I use it to boost my creativity and my mood and to try to change my behavior for the better. And it can mostly be broken down to a use of the open label placebo effect, because placebos are so powerful that even if you know what you're doing is a placebo, it can still work, because our brains are sort of hardwired to receive the benefit from spells and rituals. So today I'd like to dissect a metaphor used by some neo-pagan groups, such as Wicca, and that is the idea of the triple goddess. So the triple goddess is a way to sort of sometimes define Mother Nature, or sometimes it can be used to understand the stages of your own life. The first part of the triple goddess is the maiden, and so that's youthfulness, being naive, being beautiful, and also being virile and just sort of young and carefree. The middle stage is the mother, which can be described as the giver of life, reaching of fulfillment, very wise, very reliable. Also, there's a key factor of sacrifice that goes along with mother because of the taking care of other people. And then the final part of the triple goddess is the crone. The crone is usually defined as having acquired through this life circle a lot of wisdom, and so they're the caretaker of this wisdom. Usually the crone is tasked with passing this wisdom down to grandchildren or the next generation. Also, it's just coming to terms with, death and decay. So it's a pretty straightforward definition of a life cycle. It's very biological, and I just feel like it's a little antiquated. And so I feel like for my purposes, it could do with a little bit of a refresh, maybe a little bit of a modernization. So today I'm going to be trying to come up with a modernized version of the triple goddess that I think suits me a little bit better. So I think starting with the maiden, I like the word maiden. I definitely could identify as a maiden when I was younger. So I've added a few things to maiden to make it fit me as a young person and maybe a lot of other people as a young person too. So I added that the maiden was maybe foolish, still beautiful, makes a lot of mistakes, and learns from the mistakes each time. So it's sort of like a falling down and a getting back up. So the maiden, the maiden stays out too late, but still is able to wake up in the morning. The maiden can handle her alcohol. Definitely the maiden is not wearing enough sunscreen, and maybe she's not very financially literate. So maybe a lot of those mistakes are money mistakes. So I think we can all go through a maiden stage. And I think the great thing about maiden is that she's so full of energy, and she's so young and strong that even though she seems to have so many challenges, she can just learn from them and still get back up and keep moving. The next phase is the mother. However, I've chosen not to have children, and more and more women, I think, when given the option, have decided that that's the path that they would like to take. I understand that, a lot of my ancestors didn't have that as an option, it wasn't a choice. And so I'm really grateful for the fact that I live in a time and a place where I get to make that choice for myself. But it is starting to become a bigger part of my identity, just because a lot of other people in my age group have, they've definitely had children. And once you've had children, I feel like it takes a big part of your identity, not in a bad way. That's a wonderful thing. I'm extremely supportive of people having children. And I just might make a whole video about, not having children, but then, having children around you and being supportive of other people for having children. I'm definitely not coming down on anybody's choice to have children, absolutely not. But just that when I see the mother as the center, of the trifecta. And like the whole of the moon is the mother, and I feel like it's saying that a woman isn't, hasn't reached her pinnacle until she has had offspring. And I get it. Like, I know what you're thinking. Like, it's a metaphor. Like, it's not a literal mother. Like, Mother Earth is not literally a mother. And women can have like, women can have non-human children. Like, you can have pets, you can have creative projects, you can be really into your job at work and like you're mothering like your career. But as somebody who has chosen not to have children, I just don't identify with the term mother. Like, I just don't. And so, like, I just wanted to replace that with something else that I could feel like I could connect with better. So I guess that like being whole, like being most powerful, I kind of put it into a forum on the internet to see like what kind of results I got. And my favorite top results were the creator, which, that could definitely be a mother. A mother could be a creator of other humans. So like that's not locking them out of this metaphor. But also it's saying, like you could create a lot of different things. And then another one that came up was hunter, which I really loved because like in your middle life, like you finally have your S together and you are finally working toward your goals. And so it was like being in the woods and like, just being on the hunt and like getting what you want and being empowered to take what you want like a hunter. And I thought, oh, that's a really good metaphor. And then I also thought, a really easy metaphor would just be a queen, and just finally having the power and control over your life. Like, not that people feel power and control over their life in their middle age. It's okay if you're still like, barely able to adult. But like, I feel like that middle age is when you're starting to get your life together. Like, I know for me, I spent most of my young life very broke and very financially insecure, both because of, mistakes and ignorance, but also just because of circumstance. So now that I'm in my middle life, I'm finally feeling more secure in that way. And that is very powerful to not have to worry about whether or not you can, pay your bills each month. And I've also taken control over, well, just a lot of aspects of my life. And that's given me some space to be more creative, to spend that time and power, like, putting it into projects that I really, really love. Like, I think I'm definitely lazier in my middle life. Like, I don't have time for fake friendships, and I just don't have time to, like, go out multiple times during the week. Like, I've really slowed down, and I'm really focusing on what I find is important in my life. So, like, maybe I am kind of a mother, but I'm a mother of, like, a toddler, and the toddler is me. And so then, once you feel secure in your middle life, then you move into crone. And the traditional crone being this keeper of wisdom for the next generation and grandmother, and midwife too, like somebody that takes care of mothers. Like for somebody who's chosen not to have children, like that doesn't really fit either. So I kind of like reorganized crone as well. So for crone, of course I have that you have 0 Fs to give. Like you are completely out. You've spent them. You are more honest, so you really say and do what you mean. You really speak the truth all the time, maybe sometimes to a fault. So I imagine a crone has sold all of her belongings so that she can travel, and she just has a lot less responsibilities because the worldly possessions are starting to become less and less valuable as the time is becoming shorter on Earth. Also, I imagine, like, I hope that my hair goes really silvery white because on one side of my family, for the women, it does. And it would be really cool to be able to use, like, overtone in my hair and not have to do, like, harsh bleaching to be able to do that. Like, that would be really cool. Also, I would like to have lots of ridiculous tattoos. So as I'm approaching crone, it's becoming less scary and more something to, like, aspire to. Which, that's why I really love this metaphor of the 3-part goddess, because each one of these positions in life are something to really aspire to.
Hello, it's editing me now. I forgot a big part of this metaphor is that
You are actually all three goddesses at the same time as well, so it's like you're driving in a car with all three, and then depending on the phase of your life, that's who's driving the car, but you are all three in the car at all times. Okay, so back to the video. It's like the best parts of being a witch. Also, something else that I find it was kind of awkward, and the reason that I was kind of finagling with that mother centerpiece and feeling like I needed to replace it or rename it, my maiden stage was a lot longer, I think, because I made the choice not to have children. Like, I feel like when you have children, I don't know whether or not this is accurate, so correct me if I'm mistaken, but I think that it causes you to really have to, like, maybe mature a lot faster, and so I've almost felt like a little bit stunted in my maturity, and that my immature years had stretched out longer. And not that that's like a bad thing, like, it was fun, it was a good time, but then it seems like, am I just going to go from maiden to crone? Like, that doesn't seem very functional. So that's why I was thinking, like, I need to figure out what is in the middle here, and I need to start identifying with her, because that's where I am right now. Like, I am no longer a maiden. Like, I am wearing sunscreen every day, and I am trying to moisturize, because I am definitely in my middle years, and I think it's less scary when you can apply some metaphors to it. Anyway, this was super duper random and maybe not applicable to anybody out there except me, because like I said, this is just a metaphor used by some religions and some groups that are sort of based in this neo-pagan belief. There's the symbol of the two crescent moons flanking a whole moon, and it is a very beautiful, powerful symbol. I think it's mostly associated with Wicca, and so I know that a lot of folks appropriate that symbol just because it's like, it's like it really sums up the idea of womanhood and like the circle of life. So I hope that Wiccans can be generous and that they can share this symbol with other people, because it is really beautiful. So I don't want to, screw up this symbol, but I just wanted to tweak it a little bit so that it felt a little bit more modern, and so that it fit along with what I identify with a little bit better. All right, well, that is all I have for you today. I hope to see you in another video. I'm still having fun making these. They're getting a little bit spaced apart though, because I'm getting very bogged down with amazing, fun, and fulfilling projects at my job. So I'm not complaining about that at all, but this is a hobby, and so it definitely gets put on the back burner sometimes. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I, might take a month off here and a month off there, but it'll be nice to get back together. So anyway, yeah, so until the next video, we'll see you. Bye-bye.